Welcome to this class. Today we're going to be talking about managed database systems, and our learning outcomes are as follows. That is, define terms used, and the second one is identify the components of a database management system. I'll be presenting uh, to you this competent unit of competence, and I am Edwin Bivy. Let's look at the second content of what you're going to look at. When you look at your slide, we have the components, and we're going to talk about each of them in our following slides. So, what are the components of a database management system? We have the hardware, we have software, we have data, we have that database access language, we have procedures, and users all together form the components of a database management system. The second On our second slide, we have hardware. And what is hardware? And I'll pose that question to the class. Can someone tell me what hardware is?
Yes, hardware, they are the physical, tangible parts of a computer.
Correct. Uh, excellent. True. Those are the tangible components of a computer. Let's look at the software. And we say software. The softwares are the actual that the link between the user and the physical components of a machine. That is where we have the software. They have different. We have different forms of softwares. We have application software. We have system softwares. But we are not going to go into depth uh, into that. We're just going to mention that software is part of the components of a database management system. The third one is what you call data. So data is basically the raw facts that we are going to put or we're going to be manipulating on our database. Um, the other one is what we call the user, and users, these are the people who are going to be accessing the system, and they'll be interacting with the content that we're going to put on our database application using that interface that is normally provided by the database management system. The users of the database can be classified in different forms. We have native users, online users, sophisticated users, specialized users, application users, database administrators, and not these are not exhaustive. So we have more other users that we can find on a database management system, but we've just mentioned those few. Uh, The other thing is we are going to look at the diagrammatic representation of what you call the database management system. And we have our DBMS at the center, as you can see from the presentation. And we have the components where we have software, we have data, we have people, we have data access language and procedures and hardware. And probably we have not mentioned these two. So the procedures are basically like the rules that we normally use we normally define so that a user can be able to interact with the database. Database access languages, those are basically the queries that are normally used to access the data. So we will not have a lot of content on this session. So that marks will mark the end of our lesson, and we have a conclusion there. And it's basically talking about the real world access, what you normally find, how we normally access database in different forms. Karibu sana Paul Maina. And unfortunately, the lesson is just about to end. So, and kindly mute your mic. So, as I was saying, as part of the conclusion, maybe you don't realize, but you probably use database almost every day. You have no doubt familiar with things like search engines, library, databases, even the KTTC library as a database where you normally access different catalogs or books within that database. The online public access catalog normally gives you access to different books, different materials that you can use as a reference. Our last slide, and this one I'll just give you for the purpose of more knowledge. Proceed to the next. On our last slide, we have what we have references, and that is where we you can get materials that will be able to assist you understand this topic uh, in a better way. And that marks the end of it. I'll be sharing these slides with you so that you can update yourself on the areas that you've not touched in depth. Uh, Thank you for having this for taking this time to join this lesson. And in case there is any question, kindly feel free to ask. So, Paul, and yes, sir. Yes, Kipchumba. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate. Uh, that's good. I really appreciate. All right. Thank you, and have a nice evening.
You too.
All right.